What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we are here tonight to talk about some drama that's been swirling around the Baltimore Ravens, as it seems to be as of late, whether defensively, free agency, with our current players. Glenn, what are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I say it, hit the subscribe button.
There you go.
Click the notification bell so you are up to date on all your Ravens news. But yes, our leader, our franchise, and the guy who makes us proud every day to be Ravens fans, Lamar Jackson, our quarterback, is of course in the midst of some negotiations for his future contracts here, and there's a bunch of speculation swirling around that because of the uniqueness of the situation, the fact that he doesn't have a traditional agent and he's negotiating this deal by himself and with the small camp of people around him. The uniqueness of this means there's no leaking of possible deals, of whispers, agent. There's no agent to leak anything. So narratives are being created really off the top of people's heads. And of course,
straw men.
Exactly. And of course, the way you get most of your reaction is by making people upset or getting some sort of reaction. So a lot of people have been speculating that Lamar is unhappy with the Ravens for one reason or another. Maybe they're saying that the organization isn't putting the proper players around him, isn't building the right talent. They're saying that maybe he's unhappy with the offensive coordinator and the direction of the offense. And there's a bunch of different speculation. But thankfully and luckily, Lamar Jackson himself has put a lot of this stuff to rest by the following tweet. And I quote, he says, "I love my Ravens. I don't know who the hell putting that false narrative out that I'm having thoughts about leaving. Stop trying to read my mind," end quote. And that's the whole tweet. And boy, I could not have been more happy and proud to see Lamar Jackson tweet this out, because far too often when you're in the limelight and you're a public figure like him, they don't always get themselves involved to these narratives. They just leave themselves out. They say, "You guys do your thing. I'll let you say what you want."
And definitely Lamar.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the traditional camp of characters around him who often leak this information, like agents always do. So the fact that he addressed
one
this
Bobby
situation,
Wagner.
Yeah. Well, Zadarius Smith was another one. But I'm glad to see it, Jimbo. So what was your first reaction when you saw the tweet by Lamar?
Yeah, this is so my first reaction was, just like you said, glad to see it, like home team, like we're all in this together. But one of the things I've learned, I feel like, from Lamar is that he's also learned, and maybe he knows this better than other players, that business is business and football is football. Now, he's in the business of football, but at the end of the day, like, whether or not they come to an agree a deal right now in 5 months or 2 years, it doesn't have to impact how he feels about the team, how he feels about the guy in the locker room, how he feels about the coaches. That's pretty impressive. I think it's impressive that, like, he can compartmentalize things that way, because it would be easy for him to allow people to get in his ear and make him feel some type of way about the fact that he doesn't have a deal yet. But I don't think he's done that. I don't think he's done that at all. And I think that tweet shows that he's all in, man. I'm not worried about Lamar. I have to admit, I think I was a little shaky about not his intentions. I never thought he wanted to leave, but what his primary motives were, right? I'm not anymore. And I'm kind of mad at myself for even letting myself get there, right? Like, Lamar wants to win, wants to be here, wants to make the team proud, wants to make him and his family proud, but also wants to make as much money as he can. And I totally get it. Yeah. Nothing wrong with doing all those things.
Right. And he can do all those things here in Baltimore.
Exactly.
And so I think what's surprising is that, or what catches people off guard is how genuine Lamar Jackson is. So when he's on draft day and he's talking to the camera as soon as he's drafted, and he said, "I'm bringing a Super Bowl to Baltimore," and he talks all the time about how he appreciates that, what Baltimore did, because a lot of people forget that he was being asked to practice and participate in drills of other positions because a lot of people in the NFL didn't believe he could be a quarterback. So the fact that he says, I want to bring a Super Bowl here, the fact that he shows appreciation, the fact that he has purple feathers tattooed across his chest, I think just it's so like people assume that you're saying what people want to hear and that you're not being genuine. But he is just a genuine dude. So
Yeah.
instead of trying to guess hidden meanings and to read into things, just listen to what Lamar says
Yeah,
and
because he doesn't
take it.
do all that. He doesn't play that game.
Exactly. He does not. So just listen to what he says and believe what he's saying, because
Yeah.
he has given no indication to think otherwise. He's not a guy who puts out and it has been proven to BS or blow smoke. This just isn't him. I mean, he either doesn't talk about it or he gives you his genuine and honest opinion on it. So from now on, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hear only what Lamar says. And when when thinking about things that involve Lamar, I'm just going to take his word and not try and, because honestly, I'll get caught up in some of this stuff. I'll get caught up in some of the BS that I see on Twitter.
Yeah, but part of me, to be honest, to go right along with what you're saying, Glenn, part of me for a little bit was thinking, everyone initially, you remember like in last season, everyone's like, oh, Lamar's going to take a sweetheart deal, and then some people were saying, oh, the Ravens are going to take advantage of Lamar. And now the narrative has started to flip. And some people will start to make you nervous thinking, oh, Lamar wants all this money and he's going to ruin the team. He's not going to leave money for anyone else. And I started to feel like, dang it, what's going to happen with this team when we pay Lamar so much money? I don't care anymore. I don't feel that way anymore. And this is why. Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, doesn't belong in the same room as Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying they're miles apart, but they ain't in the same room. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson is in a select room of quarterbacks in the NFL based on what he's done. All based on what he's done on the field. I don't even have the stats up in front of me, but you compare the two and their accomplishments, I don't really think it stacks up. Mm-mm. And that's just using my eyes, right? Like I can pull up the stats and I feel very confident that it would.
Outside of like passing yards.
Yeah.
As the one category, then.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. And then, the only way you could easily combat that and say, well, how many more times has he thrown the ball?
Oh, no doubt.
So certainly as a football
and
player.
garbage yards when you're down in the fourth quarter.
And as a winner, exactly. As a winner in big moments, Lamar Jackson is in a different room than Deshaun Watson. So if Deshaun gets that, then Lamar Jackson deserves the moon. No End doubt. Of story. And if that's the way the league is going, then that's the way the league is going, and they will adapt. And if a team will adapt, I trust the Ravens to adapt and win.
Yeah, it's just like Bisciotti said when talking about John's extension. He said he doesn't feel like he's just hiring an old, like known. He says he feels that, that John has the ability to be flexible, to be malleable, to change his philosophies, and the things that were made that worried John and that were important to John 10 years ago aren't the same things that are important and worry John today. So, so people ask me, I was asked even yesterday, they said, are you worried about the future contract that Lamar's going to sign? I said, absolutely not. And they said, well, why not? And I said, because if you have a quarterback, guess what? You're going to be paying. And it's just the reality of the situation. So the day that Lamar Jackson signs the deal that I expect him to sign here in Baltimore, every quarterback that's even close to the league of Lamar Jackson will just start getting more than him. Like that's just how it goes with the position. Somebody sets the market, the next guy beats it, the guy after him beats that. It's just so eventually, if you have a quarterback who you believe in, who can keep you competitive and can constantly keep you in ball games, you're going to have to pay this money. So I have no problem with them paying Lamar Jackson whatever the market and them to negotiate, because that's what you do. When you have a great quarterback, you pay him. And so I'd rather have a great quarterback and pay him than be on the other side, which is not have a great quarterback and have a trashy team.
Yeah, 100%. Just like Bisciotti said, to the back of your statements, life without a quarterback sucks.
Yep.
Period.
We've been there. It wasn't long, but we were there.
Yeah, 100%. And we don't want to be there again. We want that to be a thing of the past. I mean, look at the Colts, right? They've had a great roster for how long, and they're turning over and over. Look what happened to the Bucks and why they did everything they did to get Tom Brady. Like, look, there's so many examples of teams with a roster, everything but a quarterback.
Look at the Browns.
Yeah. I mean,
look what the Browns did to get Deshaun Watson. They said, we will give you more guarantee, $70 million more in guarantees than anyone's ever gotten, because we know that no matter what, and just look at their roster, they had the best on paper roster. But what did they not have, Jimbo?
Hey, and have a quarterback. Number 6 is a bum.
So It's either you have a quarterback or you're looking for a quarterback. That's really the only two options.
Yep. And we're grateful to have one and excited for Lamar to get paid, whether it's today or in 2 years. I think Lamar Jackson will be a Raven for a long time. And like Glenn said, just listen to the man. He's not.
I know it's hard to believe. He's just
Yeah.
a genuinely good dude.
Yeah, 100%. So let us know what your thoughts are. What is your take on the narrative surrounding Lamar Jackson? What do you think about the tweet? Are you pretty sure that he's going to be a Raven? Are you nervous about his future? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.